scheme of things, if Che was a real person and we're not seeing this from like Miranda's perspective or anything, I would have been like, oh, so are you thinking about Miranda or your husband?
Oh, I forgot about Lyle. Is that his name?
I know you did. I know you did. But I didn't. Hello, you're watching Black by Reality, a place for Black by baddies and those who love us. We are going to be talking about episode 8 of And Just Like That, season 2. And once again, I have my co-host Aramide with me. But before that, I just want to remind everyone that I want you to like, comment, and subscribe. The reason why a lot of people are telling you to subscribe is because you don't start making money until you hit a certain amount of subscribers. And we're working hard over here. So a subscribe will be much appreciated. And now on to Aramide and this episode. Hello.
Hi, everyone. I'm
Hello.
really excited to talk about this. I feel like I say this every week, but like, I feel like, okay, finally, we're getting somewhere because I don't know what those first couple of episodes were at all.
Yeah, this is we're hitting our stride for sure, and I'm loving it. So, how where does this rank? Is this your new favorite? Because I know you said last episode was
I
your favorite.
know. I think last episode, I'm still going to give it my favorite. I just liked the themes of Valentine's Day. This one is really good. So I'll say this is my second favorite of the
Okay.
season. I think it was the episode that made most sense. Like nothing ridiculous happened. I don't think. I may change my mind once we get there.
I mean, I think everything that's happening with Aidan right now is a little ridiculous. Like,
It
what's
is.
giving me, I'm just waiting for the rug to be pulled out underneath me. I'm having trust issues
Mhm.
because it's Carrie and Aidan.
It's
So,
ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but I'm sorry, it's realistic though. And I think that's what's making me be like, okay, this isn't like Charlotte and her weed brownie, which is also a
yeah.
little bit realistic. But like
Yeah.
also I don't understand why her and Lily didn't have a tussle about that.
They probably did. We just didn't see it. They were
That's true.
talking about punishing. So it was just, it's getting a little bit more episodic. We can
Yes.
tell, like, time is really moving in between these episodes, which was the case with Sex in the City.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. All right. So, episode 8 starts with Carrie and Aidan waking up in the hotel bed. They're being like playful. They're like, who's gonna get the blinds? And honestly, this was the greatest. This was like a masterclass in screenwriting of like, we're not gonna tell you how much time has like gone by, but like something like this is like, I did it last time, I did it yesterday, I did it the other day. It's like, oh, so y'all are camping
Mm-hmm.
out in this hotel room, and they have been ordering expensive ass omelets every day, or else they have to go because hotel. And yeah, we learn more about Aidan. He's talking about, yeah, I got chickens on the farm. I have those eggs for breakfast. We find out he has an 1816 red brick farmhouse, and it's gorgeous. And in my mind, I was like, Carrie not gonna like that.
We remember how she felt about his old cabin in the woods, the one that she was so raggedy and brought big to, but we'll get into that. I
Yeah.
love this scene because it is a throwback directly to Sex in the City. When she first meets Aiden in the third season of the series, they have this whole montage in bed where she talks about her bed had become like their home, like they watched movies
Mm-hmm.
there. He's always been this homebody guy, which Carrie is not. So I'm very like right now it seems like she's still grieving obviously for Big. She's found safety in this familiarity. So she's like he's a big massive guy and he's comfortable. So she's burrowed herself in him like he's a big quilt. And I get the
Mm-hmm.
sentiment, but this isn't Carrie. Carrie is very easily um she's very easily distracted. She gets restless quite easily. So we're just gonna see like how
Yeah,
long this boat is gonna float.
That's what I'm thinking. We can go two avenues of this because we do still see Carrie doing stuff. Like Seema's supposed to be her out on the town girl because Miranda and Charlotte have different lives. And, she is out there, but then she was also laid up with Frank or whatever in bed and just watching cooking videos and like actually saying, yeah, I'm slowing down now that I would take the time to cook in my kitchen. So it's like, I really am trying to figure out like how much has Carrie changed and like
Mhm.
how much of like, yeah, maybe Aidan was always supposed to be her settling down person, but she wanted to really be out in the streets because even when she was married to Big in that first movie, she was like, we don't go nowhere. And Big is
No,
like, I'm old.
I want to
I
sit
have
down.
been I have been old. You have been chasing an old man. Can you leave me be?
Yes, it's definitely that. I think Carrie was so eager to move on from her grief that she's
Mhm.
not really processing. So again, this is very unlike Carrie. So I'm letting her have it. We all deserve nice things. I don't know if she deserves nice things with Aiden, but he's allowing her to have nice things with him.
Yeah,
So who am I? Who am I to say anything about it?
who am I to say? And you know what? Carrie says that the house actually sounds great. And you know what? She does want to meet his boys. So, next scene, we're going and seeing Carrie, Miranda, Charlotte, and Seema eat lunch. She's telling them about Aiden. He's been visiting for Virginia. They've been staying at the hotel every time. He has 3 kids, 14, which I think is like pretty young. Pretty young.
For Aiden, yes, because
Yeah.
it's been 25 years since the show started in 98. 10 years since, oh Lord, I can't remember. 15 years since 2000. That makes sense. So it kind of makes sense. It makes sense because she
Yeah.
saw one of them. It makes sense. But it's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
15, I
Because the
think.
oldest is
It's still
20. It's
young.
14,
Yes,
17, 20. And I was
that makes
like,
sense.
okay, one of them is still up in the house, and I don't know about Carrie being a stepmommy, but let's see.
Mm-mm.
Carrie doesn't know what the house looks like, so she Googled it and she's showing all of these girls, and I'm just like, Carrie, what are we doing here? That's not his house. You didn't ask this man for a picture? I feel like
She
you would
just
have.
seems to be in La La Land. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
not quite. And it's so funny in the girls' interactions because Charlotte obviously is a lover of love. She loves
Mm-hmm.
Aiden. She's always been an Aiden fan. So she's super eager. Miranda is like cautiously trying to not do too much, but also be very practical. And Seema is fully Samantha Jones. She's like, I'm not with this shit. I'm gonna eat my food. I don't, girl, what is this? Because for her, Carrie has really done this complete 180, and it's really
Yeah.
shocking for her.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Seema's storyline. At first, I was like, "What is happening?" I really was, but then it made so much sense later
Mm-hmm.
on. And watching it the second time through knowing what Seema's whole thing is, I was like, "Okay, okay,
Yeah.
this makes sense." She's now seeing the bad friend Carrie that absolutely popped up in Sex in the
Yes,
City.
for sure.
Like,
Who's like completely self-absorbed, literally, and we get it. We've all been there when our, friends find their person and they want to talk about their partner the entire time. But literally, this is the only thing that was discussed at this lunch, Aiden and his farmhouse.
yeah.
That's it.
Seema points out that Carrie was looking at Norfolk, England, so bitch, like, you get it together.
Delusion.
Um, and Carrie says that she plans to go to Virginia when Aidan isn't in New York. So she's like, what happened to the book tour, babes?
What happened to anything that you had planned, and we'll get to that also. But it's like she's completely in this thing with Aiden where it's like she's letting the rest of her life fall by the wayside. And it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
scary to watch because
Mm-hmm.
I've hopefully never been there, but I've definitely seen friends do this. And it's really a strange position for to be in as a friend also because you want to be supportive, but you could
Mm-hmm.
see the train wreck coming before
Yeah.
your friend is completely has the rose colored glasses on. They don't see anything that's happening. So it's a bit difficult
Yeah.
to
But
watch.
Carrie does have good friends. So the next scene, Miranda and Carrie are on a walk. We're getting Sex in the City vibes because this is Miranda now. This is
she's back. She's back.
She back talking sense. Talking sense. So Miranda, we find out she's on her own shit. She's going to work or intern at the Human Rights Watch. So excited. She's like, yeah, I'm ready to shed the lawyer and actually do something to make a change in this world. Love it. And then Miranda asked Carrie if she should slow down. She literally looked at a picture thinking it was Aidan's home that was in England. And, you know, Carrie says that she's being in the present, which is, it can be valuable to be in the present. She's not trying to rush and worry about the future. And she said she had the best orgasms of her life. Even when Aidan, that old thing, she was like, it's even better now. And she has a theory that she's always been holding something back, possibly because of Big, or it's just within herself, that now she's able to let go. Let's just process that part.
So I think she might be on the money there with something. She never really gave Aidan a fair chance because Big bulldozed his way back into her life, and she absolutely allowed him to do that. So she was in La La Land with Aidan, and then all of a sudden, here comes Big walking through the furniture expose, like ruining her whole life. But again, she opened the door and let him in. She never fully closed the door on Big, which is why they were able to have that affair. So I think if you're someone, like, not everyone is like this, but some people really do need a certain connection in order to have really intense sex. And she might be one of those people, where, you know, now without Big, like, there's no guilt, there's no sort of like longing, there's no what is he doing, because he down to the graveyard. She's really able to be free and experience maybe this alternative life she possibly could have had. Had she not been with Big.
I also am feeling like I'm in the writer's room, and I feel such a sense of like they're happy Big's gone because they can explore a different side of Carrie that was kind of like always holding her back. It was always going to go back to Big at some point. So they're having a lot of fun. And honestly, when she says, let's get to it. But when she says what she says, I was like, this is low-key also maybe the writers and producers, because I can only imagine what it was like working with, what's his name?
First of all, when she says what she says, and we'll get to it, I was eating a salad. My mouth hung open. I felt like Joanne the Scammer, where Joanne goes, I left the Caucasians gasping at brunch. I was shooketh. Like, I had to pause. I had to step away. I had to regroup. I had to pull myself together. Miranda also was left standing in the middle of Fifth Avenue, confused and deluged.
Okay. She's not gonna yes and it or anything, because this is your dad has been you talking about. You can drag him to filth if you want to. And honestly, that's probably something Miranda was hoping for so many years. And it's like,
and say what she says, like, tell the people what we're talking about specifically.
We're talking about Carrie saying, you know, she wonders, and she's been questioning to herself as she's been reconnecting with Aidan. Big was a big mistake.
Girl, we could have told you that in 1998.
Yeah, but you have to see something through. She really needed to see that through. I don't know why. She needed to see it through to the grave to finally be like, I really spent decades and decades with this man that
was only ever half in for me. And it's she was always begging Big for something, begging him for attention, begging him to care, begging him for love. And now being with Aidan, who's always just giving himself, to his detriment, so freely to her, it must be a completely different experience. And again, like we saw Big and Carrie in the first season, for that one episode, they seem to be in a really good space. but that was their space and bubble they had created during the pandemic. We weren't there in
Mm-hmm.
the years really prior, except for the films, and that was always in both the first and second film. That was shaky ground, just
Yep.
as it had been in the series. So
Yep.
yes, they're older now. They're cooking and whatever, and they have their literal like day-to-day operations because they can't go anywhere. So
Mm-hmm.
some couples thrived in that, and others did not. So we'll see. Like it was a really shocking take for me
Yeah.
to hear Carrie actually voice something like that.
I couldn't I couldn't be there with you, I think, in that moment. I think because I was so traumatized by Carrie that I was just waiting for the end of the episode for her to go right back around and be like, no,
Mm,
actually, I really did need to be with Big because blah, blah, blah. And like, Aidan's going back to Virginia. Like, I could not be in the moment, but that's not what happens.
mm-mm.
So things are getting very interesting. And also, did you notice that that old I don't know if it's big music, but there's a certain like needle drop or that they definitely used for a Big and Carrie moment in the movie that plays after
Mm.
she says that. And I was like, that's very
I have
interesting
to
that
go
you
back
said
and
that.
watch it. I'm gonna
Okay.
listen to that because I definitely
Yeah.
was so like I had to clutch my titties. Like it was just a lot for me.
Yeah, it was so visceral for me that it took me back because maybe it plays when he pops up in that supposedly like new apartment they were supposed to move in and the box
Mm.
is still there. Like it was giving that of like,
Mm.
yeah, that was wild. That was wild. I was like, okay, I'm picking up what you're dropping down.
Yep.
So next, Charlotte's having a whole different journey. Charlotte,
Poor Charlotte.
I have a
But it's
lot
a
to say.
realistic. This is
It's
a realistic
realistic.
journey. I liked this for Charlotte actually a lot.
Same. So Charlotte and Harry, they're sitting there. They're telling the kids they're gonna go back to work. She's like, "No, really, you have to understand. I'm not gonna be here when you get home from work and like or school." And both the kids are like, "Okay."
Toodles, ma'am. Like you've been
They,
breathing out of next this whole time. I felt so bad for mommy Charlotte because Rocky and Lily and give not one square F, and Harry could barely be bothered either. But she was deeply concerned. But this has been her role. Like she's a very good mother and a very
yeah,
good wife. And will be some changes, I think, for the family, but these are not toddlers or like grade school
no,
children. Like Rock and Lily are in high school. I think maybe Rock is in middle school.
yeah,
But
yeah.
they're old enough to kind of do their own thing and have their own friends and keep their own schedules.
They're old enough that they immediately go to the room when they get home. Like, let's be real. Charlotte's probably alone in that kitchen doing something, cooking dinner, and they are not paying attention to her whatsoever. So yeah, they're like, bye. Um, Miranda, she shows up to her first day at the internship. She meets Serena and Sloane. They look mad young, maybe still in college, maybe out of college. But they warned her about this internship, and it sounds like a regular ass internship, honestly. As someone who had like 5 internships while going to college, basically they're doing grunt work. All the things that are promised of like you'll sit in meetings and you'll be more active, they're not doing. Which is kind of BS. Like
Yes.
honestly, internships sometimes you have to pay for those things and they're supposed to walk you through entirely what the role is so you understand it,
And
and
you'll
there's
be getting
so
peach Snapples down to the MTV office because that's what I did. Getting diet peach Snapples every day.
yeah,
That was my role. Yeah.
yeah, and you just don't learn. And like I had conflicting feelings because I feel like I'm now older and I'm like, yeah, how much do I want really young people like this to really be up and like, because they're doing human rights work, like
Hmm.
it's not nothing. So it's
No,
just like,
it's
how much
not.
can you trust them? I don't know.
I will say in the city of New York and in California, I think you can't do unpaid internships like we
Yeah,
used to do back in the day. Like they are getting paid that we
yeah,
did not get paid. So that is something. So yes, they're doing the boring stuff, but they're actually getting paid for their labor. Unlike I don't know
great.
if it's fair pay. It's probably whatever the state mandated, which is better than the rest of the
Yeah,
country. But it's not like we were running around for free 99 when we
Yeah.
had $0 in our pockets.
Yeah.
So I'll give them that.
Yeah. So their boss rolls up and greets Miranda, and the first thing she has Miranda do is actually sit in a meeting, take notes. And Serena Sloan are taken aback, but it's like, what did they think? Honestly, Miranda's not your
I
peer.
I really had, like you said, I had trouble. First of all, I want to also talk about that they have a chocolate garlic cookie that I now have to find. Have y'all had that? Has anybody had that? Please write it down in the
No.
comments because I want to try it because I'm greedy. But I was like, oh, like that is kind of effed up. But also, like Miranda has been working for more than 2 decades. So again, what did they expect? And at this point, the boss, who is heavily pregnant, only asks Miranda to take notes. It's not like she's asking her to like, oh, create this forum or create this, whatever X, Y, and Z,
Yeah.
and you need to present it. Like anybody with a brain could take notes. And maybe knowing that Miranda was an actual lawyer whose work is about taking notes and digging through
Yeah.
research in order to make
Absolutely.
her cases. That's probably why she chose her to do it. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, but then I was like, I get it. I get it as someone who's gone through the grunt work and stuff. But I do feel for the Gen Zers who are listening that we
Hmm.
all do, not to the extent that we did, but you do have to pay your dues. Like there is
Yeah.
a chain of command. You should be getting paid for your work, but nothing is going to be handed to you. And I think
No.
that's a lesson that younger people should know.
Yes. Miranda has paid her dues and like worked and proven herself, and she is reaping the profits of that, which like makes sense. Hopefully once you get to that point, hell, she is older than the boss. Like, let's be real. Let's
Yes.
be very real. She could teach the boss a few things, so it's not the same. It's not going to be the
Mm-hmm.
same, and that's okay. So next, Carrie visits Che at work. Che is like, sorry, boo boo, I gotta work through lunch because money, money. But then Carrie reveals her true intention of going and taking them out for lunch. It's because she wants to rent their place to be with Aidan when Aidan is in town. And like when Aidan is there, Che can then stay at Carrie's place instead of being at like
Their
grandma's.
grandma's house. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a trade-off, but also this whole episode is just like Carrie's doing the most with her friendships to aid this relationship with Aidan.
I thought at first, like, I felt that it was a good proposition for Che. Obviously, they're struggling
Yeah,
with money. I'm still
absolutely.
frustrated with them because I'm like, why aren't you trying to like go back to your? I get like you've been kicked a little bit, like you've been heartbroken by the fact that this pilot didn't go through, but why aren't you going to do back to the comedy stage and things of that nature? That is really, really frustrating. And
It's
it's
gonna
something that the
happen.
Miranda told them, like, what are you doing? And
Hmm.
I don't know. That's really hard. As someone who's very type A and ambitious, like that was very hard for me to watch. But I did appreciate the fact that like this wasn't. It was selfish of Carrie to act, but it's something that directly benefited Che,
It
and it's what
does.
they needed. And also the fact that Aiden and Carrie are blowing their money on these hotels is crazy. Like they're both well off. We
Yeah.
learned that Aiden did sell his furniture company to like West Elm or something,
Um.
yeah, or
Mhm.
something like that. So he has a coin or two, but that's an outrageous bill like every other week
Yeah.
in New
It
York.
is.
Yeah.
It is. Um. Yeah. So I think they're on a slow burn with Che. I think Che
Mhm.
is in survival mode right now. I think that this rent is going to help them get out of survival mode. And we even see a little later, like Che's getting to thinking with
Mhm.
their time with Carrie and Aiden. So I think like how Miranda's right now just focusing on herself, Che is doing that too, even though they're still holding back because they're so hurt from what happened with this whole show experience, which is real. I think creatives sometimes we do need a break,
Mhm.
to like heal from disappointments, because being a creative is can be
It's
so
hard.
freaking disappointing. So we'll see. I have faith Che's gonna get into their groove back and learn from this. So Now the gay ass storyline, y'all, because Giuseppe's still there. He said
He's
one
still a hot
day,
bread boy, period.
hot fella, hot fella. So he said one day, he's been there 1 month, okay? And it seems like he's the only fella there.
He's the only one that's being requested. Like, I guess like the other fellas are doing their regular routes, but they're blowing up Anthony's phone with the customers asking specifically for Giuseppe because
Which
he,
makes sense. He was on a show.
yes, and he's also very attractive, like very
Hmm.
suave. So he gives
Yeah.
hot bread and hot boy.
Yeah. So, he Giuseppe's in the kitchen. Anthony's beating this dough. First of all, this was giving. I'm gonna call out Samantha Irby because I have a
I love her.
hypothesis.
I love her.
I have a feeling Samantha Irby's TikTok algorithm is like mine because the gays, there's one specific gay who loves thirst trapping with a big pile of dough. Will smack it, butter it like it's an ass, put two next to it, and it's like, why are we sexually harassing dough?
I mean,
Why are
I'm
we?
into it, honestly. Like the way you're describing it, I'm very moved. But I'm also hungry and I'm also very moved by carbs and sweets.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
this is also something if I like knew how to actually use TikTok properly that I would be into as well.
Oh, they would get
So
to you. They would get to you.
mhm.
It's like a white, queer, like, I don't know the gender of this person, but it would fall under lesbian TikTok for sure.
Mhm.
And then the men are getting into it, and they are
They always do too much.
in 4K, but like it comes up on my algorithm because black people will be then reacting to it, and I was like, this is what I need to balance this whole
Yes.
situation out. Anyway, Giuseppe was like, let's not beat the dough, let's make love to the dough. And I was like, oh my god. So he goes up behind him, he has a ghost moment. Like, they're doing this with Clay, and Anthony was like, get off of me.
Mhm.
He gets too hot and bothered, and he's like, and Giuseppe was like, yeah, I was just talking to this lady who's doing the most, and I was like, I'm gay. And Anthony's like, you don't have to lie. And he's like, I'm not
Why would I
lying, I'm
lie?
gay. And once again, we're about to start having a tally of all the ways Anthony is a terrible boss. Because unrealistic body expectations, that is then like, oh my god, you can't be on hormones though. And then you're gay and I'm attracted to you. Fired because
It's
I
he
can't help myself.
No, Anthony was literally I thought he was going to faint. Like he was like, you get away from me, get out of my bread house. Like absolutely F not. Like could not contain himself. He was just too moved. Like he was just like go and Giuseppe's not playing with him. He was like, I'm not gonna go because I will sue you, but like in a joking way, obviously. He's
Yeah.
basically like, I like shit and I won't see it. And Anthony is like, he has to go ice his nipples. It's just too much.
It's just like, I need a fainting couch. You can tell he is Charlotte's best friend just by how much pearl clutching
Yeah.
he is doing in this scene. So, anyways, he's like, I fired you. Oh, just kidding. Like, come back tomorrow. Or Giuseppe says, I'm coming back tomorrow.
Mhm.
He takes control of the situation. So, next, Charlotte and LTW, they're going shopping, which is like, you do want to shop with LTW. This was the right choice. She finds a cute black pink dress, got a little lace on the cap
Very
sleeve.
Charlotte, very old school Charlotte.
Love it.
So cute.
But she feels uncomfortable. She's tried it on and everything. She's like, ooh, but this little pouch. And it's like, girl. I know a lot of ladies were like, girl, but also this would be Charlotte.
Yes. And I've also been there before. And also Charlotte is used to her seeing herself. She's not only visualizing her body as it used to be,
Yeah.
she's visualizing her professional self as she used to be. So there's like a twofold here. And if you've noticed, like her style is very much Charlotte, but she will wear the hell out of a damn A-line skirt now.
Mhm.
It's not the fitted stuff that she used to wear in Sex and the City. The pouch is so small, like you could barely even see it. But as someone who will like picking pride at herself and is working on that, I to understand. And the belt is
Mhm.
supposed to be like the PS3. It's like a little pink belt, so Charlotte, but it doesn't sit as it should because of
Mhm.
her little pouch. It doesn't matter at all. And LTW tells her it doesn't matter, but she's fixated on this pouch and she's over it. And she's like,
Yeah.
no.
She just knows it's not supposed to be there because this is the type of place that is like straight,
Yes.
straight bodies
Mm-hmm.
only. And so the shop girl, she's like hearing this, she's like, I got it. I know exactly what to do. And she comes back with some big black dresses. They have huge bows and stuff going on in the
It is
front.
wretched, like from the 1980s.
Yeah.
Like
And
frocks.
Charlotte, she was like, girl, I ain't trying to wear a moo.
Yes.
Are you kidding? And LTW tells her, like, you know what? You'll get it when you're older.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And it's for me, what I liked about this was like it doesn't Charlotte doesn't feel sorry for herself. What she does isn't
Mm-hmm.
healthy, but she doesn't like go crash. She's like, oh, I'm just gonna
Mm-hmm.
go like be my own goal. So she like gets an old picture of herself and proceeds to try to like bone broth her way back to a flat stomach, which is absurd. She's a 50-something-year-old woman. Not to say that you can't be fit at 50, which she is, but she's also had a child. Like she's carried a child, and that changes your anatomy forever.
It totally does, especially around that area. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we have to be for real. And, like, this is something exactly that Charlotte of her generation would do. Like, she's literally a lot of us, the general public, will like hear something about Goop and be like, she's ridiculous. But
Mm-hmm.
she's not actually talking to us.
She's talking to the Gen Xers,
Charlotte.
to the
Charlotte
Gen
is her
Xers,
clientele.
because it's the same age, and that's why Gwyneth is hooked up to an IV, which is very unhealthy. If you did not know,
So it's not even just Gen Xers, it's people with money.
yes,
Money. And you have all the money in the world. And Gwyneth is talking about, well, with my doctor, which is like, look up that doctor. But I'm just doing bone broth and like that's okay. And it's like that's literally starving yourself.
it's very bad.
Literally.
That's you can't get nutrition, your full nutritional value or calorie that you need. You need a certain amount of calories to function. You need 100 grams of carbs for your brain to function properly. It's a no.
It's a
And of
no.
course, it will work because it's not a realistic thing to do. Please do not do this to yourself.
Do not.
Don't.
And very sorry if this whole storyline was triggering to
Triggering, yeah.
you. I have dealt with my own and still deal with my own body eating issues. But you know what? I appreciated this
Mm-hmm.
because it's just like, I know it's cringy to be like, oh, the white, thin woman going on about weight, but really, truly, like, fat liberation is when we're all just feeling good, which
Exactly. We're
comes
not
up
there yet.
later.
Yeah.
Comes up later. So, okay, next. Carrie and Aidan go to Che's apartment. They have to pretend that they are Che's cousins because you're not supposed to be doing Airbnb at all in New York, I think.
No, it's
No.
actually not allowed at all in the state
No.
in the city of New York. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they're getting like the side eye from Che's neighbor. And then when they go inside, they realize this is even terrible for an Airbnb child because there is nothing. The whole point, the whole perk of Airbnb is supposed to be like, oh, you get your own full kitchen and blah. There's that's an apartment ready to move in.
It must have been either when Che moved their things out for to start Airbnb, or when like
Mm-hmm.
Miranda left, she took everything she had over there. But Che has not made this house a home. There's like no like pepper shaker. There's no spoons and forks. There's no coffee machine. It's truly bare bones, like almost
Yes.
worse than a hotel room in a way.
Yes. And it's weird because Che was like hosting. There were a
Mm.
bunch of comedians over there smoking late at night. It's like, I guess you guys just did takeout, but this
Yeah.
is some college boy shit,
Mm-hmm.
Che. Get
And
it
that's the energy
together.
that Che be giving. But
It
they're working on
is.
it. They're
They're
working on
working on
it.
it. They're
Yes.
working on it. But this is some college boy shit. So yeah, they're like, and also I love the button to this scene because Carrie's like, yeah, we have to go shopping because Jay only has wire hangers. And we don't do wire hangers around here, boo boo. Ever since Mommy Dearest, we do not do wire hangers.
I love, what an icon. Joan Crawford, what a legend. Like every
Joan
day.
Crawford.
Please
Yes.
go watch Mommy Dearest if you haven't.
So this scene was hella playful, hella cute. Aidan is just teasing Carrie of all the things she needs, but also agrees because he's a grown-ass man himself. That's like, we need things.
Yeah.
So next, Seema gets a text about getting dinner with Aidan, because this is something also Carrie insists on. And yo, Carrie, when Carrie gets a boyfriend, she extra with it, because why do we all have to go on a date with your boyfriend?
My thing is, first of all, I be trying to make sure the nigga ain't gonna embarrass me. So nobody's meeting my man for like 2 or 3 years because maybe if he's around that long. I think my sister he's the first person to meet my man, and she met him like a year later, because like men are very embarrassing people. Like it'd be different if she wanted to just, catch up with Charlotte and catch up with Miranda because he knows them.
Yeah.
But throwing Seaman, like, girl, like,
Seema, I don't know him. I don't care about
and to
him.
know him, like, is he giving you a kidney? Like, why is he here? I hate when like you go to someone's town or something. You're like, hey, I want to, like, oh, can my boyfriend come? Girl, no, like, stay his ass somewhere. We can't talk freely with around.
Yeah, it's so funny because now that I am not in a relationship with a man, I have like the opposite problem.
Yes, because like
everyone wants to hang out with Jordan, my non-binary partner, and I'm
because Jordan
like,
is an incredible human. Like,
yeah,
they're everything. They're so sweet.
They're actually very much an Aidan. Let's just say
they
that.
are. They are. They certainly
I have an
are.
Aidan. They'll be so helpful. They'll try to build stuff. It's ridiculous.
They're so like just kind and polite and just like a joy to be around.
Yeah. And
I'm sure Alicia said just like that.
I'm just trying to make sure, is it a girls' night or not? Because Jordan's sometimes like, ooh, I was assigned female at birth, but it's like, it's not technically a girls' night. It's like trying in the most fucked up way to be gender affirming to Jordan. Oh. It's like, you're not a girl.
But you're always welcome.
Yeah.
The point is they're not a boy either, so that's why they're welcome.
True. All right, so Seema is not trying to answer that text about Aidan dinner. She don't care. But, we finally see her at work, which we have talked about. A gay realtor comes in. He's like, look, I got a Marvel movie director. He's kind of annoying, but, like, you should take him. And she's like, why would I take him when you
I don't
say that? And he, like, the director's right there, and he just keeps yelling, he's single. And this man just doesn't acknowledge it, even though he had to have heard that.
I think he heard it, but he was also on the phone the entire time. So who knows? And this is also like, I love this for Seema because she owns this real estate agency with this gay guy who's screaming at her. They're partners. So it's nice to actually see her in her element because I don't think we've seen that before. And she's like, girl, like, I don't need him or his coin, blah, blah, blah. But the man finally comes in and he's a little bit fine. So she's like, okay, like, he's difficult, but he acknowledges the fact that he's difficult. Yeah. So she's like, you know what? I need another Birkin in my collection. I'll do it. But Seema's also one not to be trifled with, so she could easily drop him if he gets on her nerves.
Yeah. So. But this is what I said I wanted. So let's do it. Let's strap in. I want him. So his name is Robbie Gador. And yeah, we'll see where this goes. Next, the internship. So the interns, baby, they are mad. They're big mad, but they're also nice, nasty.
It's so rude. Like, I felt so bad for Miranda. Like, she wants to, like, talk to them, converse with them. And she offers them, I think, the cookies that they had offered her. Maybe that's later, but she's just really nice. And they sit and text back and forth about her. It was so rude and so nasty. And she didn't do anything wrong. And I thought, like, this is why y'all not getting anything, because you're young and you're immature.
Yeah. It's I'm just like, it's all right. Like
Mhm.
these are not her peers. These are not going to be her little friends, even though she would want
They're literally
that.
Brady's age. Like
It's fine. It's fine. So she's in there. She's shaking her little.
herself.
I,
I did that today
I
at
loved
work,
it.
actually.
I loved it. And she's just like trying to make small talk. And she's like, if I didn't know anything, you guys would be texting me. And she's like, bitch, I'm not dumb. I'm older, but I'm not dumb. Especially the way they kept looking at her, like out of the corner of their eye and texting. And then they tried to drop it because they had some kind of shame. But the minute that boss came around and she was like, oh yeah, can you like email those notes to like the executive director too? They picked up and they started going at it again. And it's like, okay, okay,
Again, you have to earn things they're not
yes,
giving to you. And like
yes.
being petty is not a good way to show your boss what you're capable of.
But honestly, I've been there as an intern. It's like it could be a hell, and like the bonding is like these
Over how
older
much you paid it.
people
Yeah.
are trash. So it's
Yeah.
just like they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Miranda's doing exactly what she's supposed to do. It's
Mhm.
okay.
They're not on the same path at
Nah.
all.
So Charlotte, she is trying on this dress at home. She stapled an old picture of her in an all black dress on top. And, Harry walks in and he's like, you look great. And she's like, it's just too tight. I'm working on it. And he's like, well, why don't you just lose the belt? And she's like, you can't lose the belt. It's just part of the whole thing. And then we find out about her doing her bone broth thing, which is just not eating.
Don't do that.
Charlotte. That's all it is. She's been doing it all week, which how have you not fainted, my
Don't do
girl?
that. Don't do that. Please
And then
don't.
she rips off the picture of her old self off the hanger when like Harry was like, yeah, I did not know you were doing that. And yeah, she going through it, but it's like, eat something, babes.
Please. Because
Especially when you don't eat and you're literally starving yourself.
like you can't think.
The minute you start eating again,
You
your
gorge.
body is going to be like, I can't trust you.
Mhm.
So I'm going to be storing stuff for the next time you try to starve me, bitch. And it's like, rightfully so. Because who do you think you are, starving yourself and
Don't do
betraying
this.
yourself like this?
Please
No.
don't.
Chase chilling at Carrie's apartment.
Mhm.
Got under eye stuff going on. They're going through her ridiculous closet.
Mhm.
And they get a call about their cousins by different names. So Che's like, what? I don't have cousins by that name. Like, Che. And yeah, they have to come over and they're surprised that Carrie and Aidan made themselves at home, got the cooking ware. Aidan's making goddamn chili. And, Che asked them, because everything looks great. Everything looks so great between them. Why they didn't work out the first time.
Like drops a bomb on them unknowingly. Like Shay was just, there for the chili. And Carrie says, like, it's my fault. Like, I made a huge mistake, is what she says. And she says this to Che and to Aidan. And it's so interesting when she says it because it actually zooms in on Che's face.
Yes.
And I'm like, Che, don't be over there sniffing around Miranda.
Che absolutely will.
No.
Che absolutely will. Because I'm like, in the grand scheme of things, if Che was a real person and we're not seeing this from like Miranda's perspective or anything, I would have been like, oh, so are you thinking about Miranda or your husband?
Oh, I forgot about Lyle. Is that his name?
I know you did. But I didn't. I would have been like, oh, I wonder. But no, we don't wonder because we know what it is.
I don't forgot about Lyle. Jesus. Why y'all wrote him, writers? That was a ridiculous character for Oliver Hudson to play.
So ridiculous. And the last time we literally saw him was like through a failed threesome. And we just never saw.
That was like episode 3 or 4. Child. This why Kim Cattrall told y'all no, because this is foolish.
Yeah. wild. But yeah, so Miranda's definitely like, I wonder if I made a mistake. You did. You fumbled. But you know what? Keep focusing on yourself because Miranda's doing her right now.
Yes.
It's let's
Without the kitty litter lady. Praise.
yes. Yes. Miranda's great all by herself. So let's work on a few more things. Let's have a home, Che. Let's focus on a home. Don't be one of those queers that is like, I'm gonna get a relationship and then get in a home
No.
because they have a home and move in. We're not doing that.
Straight men also do this.
Get your own home.
Yes. Please don't do that.
Anyway, so Anthony and Charlotte, they're talking on the phone. Another scene I missed. Charlotte is talking about, I need to fit in to this dress because there's going to be young gallery girls, which is real.
Very, very real. And she came from Charlotte's of a different era.
Yes.
And that's something I do sympathize with, like our mother generations and like our older cousins generations. It's a different era and they don't get how things work now until they have to see things to be like, oh, this makes sense. Like this wasn't something that would have been possible when I was in this phase in my life. Yes. So that's important.
Very. And like, and it's still there. It's not like she rolls up and everyone doesn't fit to what society ascribes to for like these gallery girls. They're still there. Mm-hmm. It's just still seeing like, okay, there's a little movement in the needle. Mm-hmm. So Anthony is like, I feel you, girl. Like Anthony's gonna be the one to like commiserate with. And then he's like, this young thing Giuseppe, he's doing too much and it's because of his age too. And it's like, Giuseppe didn't do anything at first. All he said was that he was gay, and then you freaked out.
You literally got a boner on the bread.
So, like, don't blame Giuseppe. Later you can blame Giuseppe, but right now you can't. So, next, Seema and Carrie are at
this was like my favorite scene. It's my favorite scene.
Of course it is.
I love chaos. Okay,
so,
ready.
They're right next to her. She was like, I know that voice. And she's been not answering this girl's text. So Seema, she like tries to tiptoe out, and then Carrie was like, hold up, Seema. Hey, Seema. And Seema's like, hey. And then Carrie's like, where you been? And she's like, if I gotta go through this, I gotta go outside and smoke. And Carrie's like, this shouldn't be a hole. And she's like, it is. So they go outside
with capes and wet hair. They're literally right out of the shampoo bowl.
Yes, this was a smoker's moment, child. So they're outside, and Seema says, "Look, I'm not trying to be the petty single one, but I have feelings." And Carrie admits that she totally forgot about the Hamptons. Girl.
Totally forgot about it. Like, has this whole new life plan with Aidan where she's going to be in Virginia half the time. And
how did you forget?
They were just talking about this. And for me, it was such an interesting conversation because Carrie rarely owns up to her bullshit. And she's actually really hurt that she did this to her friend. And I like Seema for actually being like, you know what? I was being a little bit passive aggressive. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to express to you why you have me fucked up. And I need some space from you right now. I thought it was such an important discussion because I think our girlfriends, we don't necessarily give them grace like we should. And it's important to voice like why you're upset. Everything doesn't have to be a blow up or something egregious. It can be like, you hurt me because of this. And if they're your real friend, and Carrie really values Seema's friendship, and she says, I can't do this. Like obviously her and Samantha, however they try to finagle it in this version of Sex and the City, they don't fuck with each other anymore for whatever reason. And like Carrie can't do that again. Like she can't. It's too much.
That's a good point of like this probably taps into whatever was happening between her and Samantha. I'll say Carrie has really turned into her 30-year-old self because Seema was like, I'm not trying to third wheel. Like, what? He's going to be up in the Hamptons house while we're up there? And she said, well, he's not going to be there every day. Carrie.
You didn't even ask. You didn't ask. You didn't.
Carrie loves to cast her girlfriends as the supporting roles in whatever love story she got going on. And Seema was like, I'm the main character of my own summer. That's not the summer I want.
That
So I
was
got
the
to
entire
deposit back.
point of her asking Carrie to go to the Hamptons with her because she did not want to be a third wheel. The entire point,
Absolutely.
if you remember that conversation in the Apple store, and Carrie completely is like under Aiden's armpit and just forgot about it.
She's so good at that. I actually like the character consistency with this issue because this is exactly what Carrie would do. Yeah, and so yeah, Carrie tries to refuse giving space, but it's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah. Next, Charlotte tries on some Spanx. Then she doubles
She
that
got
shit.
Spanx. She done got some Yitty. She done got some Skims. She done put on like 4 girdles.
So yeah, so she's trying that. She goes off to work and she can hardly say bye to her babies. She's so breathless. Now Giuseppe shows up to work, y'all, and Anthony is like, he wrote a letter and it sounds like a breakup letter and was just like, it's not you, it's me. And he was like, what is this? Giuseppe's like, ooh girl, you were in your feelings last night, huh? And Anthony says, he can't work next to him. He has too many feelings and like he can't. Again, this is about him not having self-control. It's very weird. And Giuseppe's just like, I'm gonna kiss you now because I am like, how old do we think Giuseppe is?
He's probably like 25 or like maybe.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That is wild. So he's like, I'm gonna quit and I'm gonna kiss you. So because I'm 25 and I don't think about long term and I wasn't trying to have this job anyway.
I appreciate them giving Anthony a storyline. I just didn't see this coming.
Yes.
Like at all.
I appreciate it too. So Charlotte, she walks into work, finds 2 little skinny girls in the gallery doing the most. That freaking outfit with the 2 shoulder pads up to here. What was that, honey?
It was very chaotic, but also very New York in some ways, and just like very gallery girl.
I'm not believing a real gallery girl's wearing that. I'm sorry. I've been in New York.
Carrie will wear it if she was a gallery girl. You know, some of the girls love their
Carrie's
fashion.
Also Carrie.
That's true. Like, but some of the girls like their fashion. Some of the girls do fashion.
If you want to call it that, you want to call it that. Now, Kai, who was next, that was a gallery girl. That was when I actually watched Gallery Girls on Bravo. If any of you guys remember that mess,
I have no idea.
It was one season. It was just about the gallery girls were getting in the gallery. Everyone was a little sassy, a little spicy. I was like, ooh, I'm loving it because I
call Andy and tell him to relaunch it.
If only, but it's like it's a nice little time capsule because if you know, you know. And yeah, Kai was given that. It was very real, with the little shag. But so Charlotte's just like, yeah, I should have put on the Spanx looking at these girls. But then their boss walks down. Their boss is a fat woman, crop top, giving belly, and
giving color. I think she had on like some type of like lime green.
Oh, was it lime green? I thought it was like a cobalt blue. How are we both seeing different colors?
I'm getting an age. Whatever it wasn't the all black that the other girls.
No, it was black, but the top I think was like blue. So yeah, the minute Charlotte saw her, she was like, it's a safe space. Can I go to the bathroom? And she takes off all that Spanx. She tries to throw it away, but then she was like, maybe I'll keep some.
It's expensive too.
Huh?
It's expensive. Spanx and all that is expensive. Oh, yeah. So I don't know why you threw it in the garbage.
It was like, that was symbolic. Like, not for real though. And yeah, it's like, yeah. And we didn't have to talk about it, which is good because I think it would have been real cringy to have Charlotte try to have a whole conversation with this girl. You just got it. And that's why fat liberation is so important, because like the fat the fatter bodies not being criticized, being free to live, being free to work. Because let's be real,
Yes.
Charlotte had a very real anxiety about work because skinny bodies are supposed to be marketable, and it's like very unsaid that you're gonna get more pay even when you're
Or
smaller.
even
Like,
get a job, or even be
yeah.
able to sell a painting. Um, I thought it was so important. I love the fact, so when before she gets to the gallery, she snatches off the pink belt, which she loves, and when she
Mm-hmm.
throws away the spank, she puts it back on. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, Charlotte, like you're
Yeah.
learning, you're evolving, like good for you.
Absolutely. I love it for her. So yeah, that was really nice. Next, Miranda's boss tells her to leave because you're not supposed to be staying past 6 at all. And then she's like, by the way, I'm hella pregnant if you haven't noticed. I'm gonna like pop tomorrow. So apparently I haven't planned my maternity leave like at all, even though this belly is about to drop. So if you can just, cover for a little bit while I'm on maternity leave, that'd be great. This is the part where it got a little unrealistic, but
It did, but it also is like knowing a non for profit, they are already stretched super thin, and they're like obviously like Miranda knows laws, like she can easily pick things up.
Mhm.
So it did get unrealistic a little bit, but what was realistic was when Miranda tried to be like, oh, like no, look, why me?
Yeah.
The boss was like, you didn't go to Harvard, talking about not me and being small and doing all this. Like, no, you're gonna take this job, you'll be fine. I'll see
Mhm.
you in 3 months or whatever.
Right.
Whenever I'm done, and then we'll do something else.
Yeah.
So it was a lesson in, like, I think being with Che, unfortunately, has made Miranda squeeze into herself, and it was time for her to not only expand back into who she is with her friend group, but in life, like someone who's always taking up space. Take up some space. You don't have to coddle to these 20-year-olds. You could be like, listen, like you can work with me or you can beat feet. But again, she
Mhm.
has 30 years of experience. She has a law degree. She's just not, she's not walking on the street with with
Mhm.
a high school diploma.
Mhm.
No,
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put this on Che,
I
because I
wouldn't.
think Miranda was doing this before. So if we remember at the very beginning of And Just Like That, she enrolled in school. She kept stumbling over her words. She had a
Oh
very
yeah.
awkward beginning with Dr. Naya. Her whole thing is like, I have good intentions, but I am an older woman and I am a white woman and
Mhm.
I'm probably going to say the wrong things. And her whole thing has been, I came a very privileged place being this, I'm going to assume, corporate lawyer,
Yeah.
definitely not fighting for like the little guy.
Mm.
And now I want to fight for the little guy. So I think it's like kind of outside of Che, of her still checking her privilege. That's been her whole thing during COVID, is
Mhm.
having this realization and just being like, yeah, is it problematic of me to take this internship? One of those interns is a young Black woman, um, and the other white is like, yeah, am I taking a job I shouldn't be taking? And I
Mhm.
think that is in line with the new Miranda of just trying to be very self-aware.
And I think that's absolutely fair. I forgot all about what you were saying because they deduced her character into like this babbling person that's run behind Che to Los Angeles. But
Yeah.
I think it's fair, and I appreciate that her boss is a woman of color. I don't know exactly what
Yeah.
her ethnicity is, but she like tells Miranda like, no, like you're not taking these interns don't have the caliber to run this organization at this point. You can uplift them, you can, you
Yes.
know, promote maybe or do X, Y, and Z, but you're the one who has the gumption to
Yeah.
do it. And I think that's important too.
So Aidan has lunch with the ladies. Carrie gets her way. And they thought Seema couldn't make it, but Seema shows up in all black, looking great. Aidan, because Aidan is a gentleman, gets
Mhm.
up for her, pulls out the chair, and Seema's like, oh, so you didn't have me walking out here, leaving my house to meet a man with no manners. Okay.
Exactly. She's
And
a little bit impressed, like a little bit
yeah, which
impressed.
is sad. It's really
Yeah.
sad, but it's true.
Mhm.
Not a lot of people would be doing that.
No, and he's such a gentleman. I'm sure he paid for their lunch, and
Everyone.
he's just Aiden's
Right.
such a good person. Like he's funny, like he's personable. He
Yeah.
wouldn't be like big, like sitting there like on his phone or something like that. So I appreciated that. And I like the fact that like Carrie did give Seema space, which is why she showed up. And Seema also
Yes.
recognizes that this is an important friendship. She's not happy with Carrie bailing on their entire summer plan, but this is still
Yeah.
her friend and they can
Yeah.
still meet somewhere in the middle, hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, something we didn't mention is Seema talks about how she has had zero great loves in her life,
Oh
and Carrie had
yeah.
two.
And that's really difficult. I find, I don't know if you've had the experience also, Nicole. We've been with our partners for almost the same amount of time, about 3 years. And I find it increasingly more awkward when I'm talking to my single girlfriends in
Mm.
particular, particularly my straight girlfriends who want love or like have never had love or and I feel really bad and I kind of more consciously now don't really talk about my partner as a result because it's
Mm.
weird. And I also don't know what to say in some
Interesting.
regards. I don't know if you've had that experience, but I definitely have felt
Yeah.
more and more like I have.
Do end up listening to my single friends, and like, I don't try to give advice.
Same.
A lot of people in relationships love trying to give advice as if they have the secret key. It's a roll of the dice. You have to
It's
think about
luck. And it's
timing.
also putting yourself out there. I will say this is what I do say. Like
Yeah.
you're not gonna find your person at home on your couch. We would love that to happen, but you have to put I'm an advocate for online dating, for going out. You're not going to find this person by doing the same things you've been doing every
Yeah.
single day. So
Yeah.
if that's the only piece of advice I can leave people who are desiring, like
That's about it.
same, same.
Yeah. So, yeah, looks like everything is going well with Aiden meeting everyone, which did not anticipate it wouldn't. Um, at last, we see Carrie back in her apartment, but she's pulling a book from her bookshelf and she leaves with her little suitcase. And, we have a voiceover. She said that Aiden's farmhouse was better than the Howard's End house because she kept likening it to that. I have not watched that movie. And it's their new beginning, which
Mhm.
is that's wild.
I was kind of taken aback to think. First of all, I was taken aback by two things. First of all, the size of that suitcase was ridiculous because Carrie one shoe would not fit in it. It was the
Yeah.
size of like an iPhone Max or Plus or
Yeah.
whatever. Two, we didn't see it, and that is throwing me off a little bit. We didn't see Aiden with his boys, and Carrie's like, "Oh, everything is great." Was it?
I think the thing is that And Just Like That is so New York. Like, we were complaining about Miranda being in California.
That's true.
I can't imagine what the reaction would be to Carrie being in Virginia at a farmhouse
Mhm.
unless it was going down and it was another cabin situation, which I really can't do. I really can't.
No, it was
Um,
ratchet.
so it's just like, yeah, it was great. Had fun. And I don't need any more teenagers on this freaking show. So,
I hope not. We'll see. Almost like kind of confused because this kind of seems like an ending point, but we have what 3 more episodes to
we
go,
sure do.
and maybe another season depending on what HBO Max or whoever they're
We're
calling
getting another
themselves
one.
today.
We're getting another
But
one.
this is like an ending point. It took it literally the entire thing, Sex and City, the movies, everything could end right here, and it would be an ending point.
It can't, though, because our other
Um,
characters are
that's
still,
true. They're figuring things out,
yeah.
but
But we'll
we'll
see. That's
see.
why. That's why for me it's like I can't totally believe Carrie yet. Like, it's
Mhm.
I don't know what it's gonna take for me to believe, like, yeah, her and Aiden are actually really doing this. But like, we've literally seen engagements break. We've literally seen like,
My favorite thing to mention, like when me and my girlfriends were, I'm like, remember when Carrie like broke out in hives when she tried on a wedding dress?
yes,
Literal hives.
yes, her body rejected it. Her body absolutely rejected
And
it.
we just talked about this. Like he is not her person. We love Aiden. He is a lovely person. He's not her person. He never has been. Even in this widowed 50 something still fly iteration of Carrie Bradshaw,
Mm-hmm.
it ain't what it is and it's not what it's gonna be.
Oh no, we're going to see. I don't know. I'm like happy for her, but I'm holding my breath of like what's gonna happen. Like it would be nice, like I said, for new love interest that really represents whatever Carrie is now.
Yes.
And we can have a will they, won't they with that for a second, but it's not because he's a jerk. It could be for situations or something, or just still her like being like, oh, this is maybe how I felt about Big. Like, how do I feel that I'm actually capable? Because like right now, she's like, ooh, Big was probably a mistake, but that's still questioning Big. It's not exactly like, oh my God, I'm so in love with Aidan. Like, she never says that.
She doesn't. And I don't know how you could have a 20-year life with someone that is a mistake. I mean, people do it all the time, I guess. I don't know. I don't have the gumption or the patience. But it'll be interesting because, again, we still have 3 episodes to go.
Yeah, and I think that's what you just said. I anticipate maybe a little bit of backlash because let's face it, like, we can say, oh, looking back, Carrie was a trash friend. Carrie and Big were trash, blah, blah, blah. But somebody had to be invested in that for it to be as successful and be so long lasting in pop culture's memory that I'm anticipating some people being like, actually, this whole episode's BS. I hate that she said that. Because, how could so many years be a mistake with someone?
She's also still grieving, and we have to remember that. Grief is very tricky.
Yes.
Very tricky.
Yes.
I'll give her that.
But also, life is super complicated. Like, there's so many, I mean, let's be real. Like, we have conversations with our grandmothers. We have conversations with like elders in our family. Marriage is not always what it's cracked up to be, even if it's long lasting to the grave. Like, people have thoughts. People have thoughts.
People go through a lot that they would never tell anybody but the Lord. Yeah. If that's what you believe.
Yeah. But I think it's an interesting question she's asking herself. She never said like, oh, I fully 100 feel that way. I'm just questioning. And it's a good ass question, Carrie. It's a good. You can't do nothing about it now, but it's a good ass
it's good to reflect. It is. Especially because this man tried to leave money to his ex-wife in his will, but
oh my God, I forgot about that. Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yo, Big. They knew they had to kill his ass. They knew
and they killed him good and did.
Yes. Oh my God. Sure. And she really brought that lady back after all.
After she broke the lady tooth and nose or whatever she did, harassed the lady to the end of the world. And Natasha said, get away from me. I don't.
Truly get away from me.
That's his first wife too. Remember she done ran up to the lady place of employment in the first and second season?
Oh my God. She sure did. She's gross.
This is not third wife behavior, Carrie Bradshaw.
You know when you like get a memory of you doing gross behavior or something and you just how does Carrie has to do that once a day, right?
She distracts herself with shoes, which I do too.
She has to.
But this is why you need friends like Seema who tell you about yourself real good. We'll see.
I think by the finale, Che's definitely going to try and make a move to get back with Miranda.
Boo! Tomato.
That has to be it. That at least has to be one little cliffhanger. But I think Che also will be farther along. Like, I think they're going to get back into comedy and, like, Miranda's going to be killing it at whatever she's doing. Maybe get offered a new job. Like, I think they're both going to be moving into better places in their life.
I hope so.
To possibly consider a round 2. I have no clue where this Carrie and Aidan thing is going.
This is my reaction to Che.
I know.
I think Carrie and Aidan are going to crash and burn for the hopefully what is it, the 4th time? But maybe they'll leave gently. But this is like very terrifying. This is like we're strapped in. We can see the top of like, and it's like pleasant so far, but then you might poop yourself because it's gonna be real bad.
Never I don't believe the whole new beginning sounds like I might actually live there one day. And I'm like, I don't believe you. I
You
don't
wouldn't
believe
even move
you.
to Brooklyn. You didn't even want to go to Brooklyn when Miranda moved there.
Yeah. You couldn't leave this apartment. She still owns this apartment. What's truly the
Very
long-term plan?
smart. It's very smart, but financially it's smart, and it's smart for her to have an exit plan dealing with Big's ass. It was smart, but still, the man Aiden can't even go up in there.
No. No. You guys need to go to couples therapy or something to like get in there if like this is actually going to be a thing. Like meeting this man's kids, like it's a lot. It's a lot. Oh, Jordan. Jordan has to pop up again for Naya.
Finally, like where, like, because where, what are they doing with Naya? Nothing. All she's done
Nothing.
this season is make a souffle and got rid of her double named husband. Thank God. We have to do our best black moment, our best spy moment
Oh
first.
yes. Thank you.
Our best black moment, there really wasn't any Negroes here except for LTW and the girl who did the black girl give the Miranda the cookie, the
Yeah. No, no,
whatever.
no. It was the white girl who did that.
Oh, okay. So basically, just watching LTW in her fashions. I guess that would be my little plug for the day.
Maybe.
Even though she was on
Yeah.
screen for 5 seconds, practically.
Our BB moment. Yeah. We really got nothing. So it really does have to be that. And then our chaotic buy moment. Chaotic buy moment is obviously Che having a flashback to Miranda in the goddamn kitchen while they can't afford their apartment,
They don't work my
working
nerves so bad, so
working at this
bad.
veterinary place. It has to be because they're in scrubs. So that's that chaotic buy moment. It's just having a thought of like, why didn't this work out? A mistake. Did I make a mistake and have to run back to my ex? No. No. To all the queer femmes who are watching this, no. Just because Carrie went back to Aidan, don't you get any ideas?
No.
Really think about it. Really think about it, guys. But yeah, so for my plugs, all right, Cruel Summer has ended, y'all. I just watched the finale. If you haven't watched it, truly, it's a little 10 episode little teen mystery, low stakes. And then watch our recaps if you want to join us over there. That last episode is coming soon this week. Also, TV to Table, we have our YouTube series with my partner Jordan that we talked about today. We are cooking things inspired by different shows. The last one we did mushroom bucatini inspired by the bear. Jordan likes Seinfeld, so the next one's gonna be Soup, inspired by that whole Soup story. I don't like Seinfeld. I don't like Soup, but I'm gonna try
In
because
August,
I'm in love. I'm in love.
okay.
So this is what happens sometimes when you're in love. I know Seema is raising her eyebrow at me, but it's like it's please watch it. And then lastly, Big Brother is starting, and I am a Big Brother reporter girly. I have come out with my reactions to this new cast. We got some interesting faces, some people who are related to the girlies and Survivor. So let's talk about it. And I am probably most likely, yes, going to do a reaction to tomorrow, Wednesday's live move in. So cross our fingers that our faves get that first HOH, I guess. And hopefully it's going to be a good season. It's going to be a long one, 100 days. I don't know how I'm fully going to be covering it. We're going to figure it out together. And I'm still figuring out if I'm doing weekly eviction interviews. Hopefully, would love it. Yeah, Aramide, what are you doing over at Variety?
I am watching Winning Time currently. The second season will be out on Sunday, so my review should be up shortly. Also, in next week's issue, you will see my review of Rap Shit, which comes back August the 10th. And yeah, those are my current things.
Nice, nice. Comment your thoughts, especially on this whole Aidan and Carrie situation. We need them. And your thoughts on everything else. And again, please subscribe. Help a Black queer girly baddie
Period.
pay my rent. I'm not telling you to pay my rent, just that ad revenue.
Or
Trying
whatever
to get,
T.S. Madison said when she did like
yes,
this with her finger.
yes, that's what. Trying to get some passive. It's not passive income. I'm working
No.
so hard. Okay, I'm gonna go before I crumble. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Bye.